You ever have one of those neighbors who's just determined to make your life miserable? That was Karen, all right. I'm talking about the kind of woman who patrols the street like it's her personal kingdom, clipboards, phone camera, the whole 9 yards. I never even wanted trouble, I just wanted to grow my veggies in peace. But nope, Karen wasn't having that, and boy did that backfire on her. My name's Tasha, by the way. Born and raised right here in Georgia, served 4 years in the Army, went to college on the GI Bill, and when I finally bought my own house, first one in my family to do so, I thought I'd found a little slice of heaven. Quiet cul-de-sac, good schools, nice enough folks for the most part. And hey, I love working with my hands. So I turned part of my front yard into a garden. Tomatoes, bell peppers, some okra, sunflowers along the side. My grandma always said, you feed the soil feeds you. And that's what I was doing. Everything was fine for a few months. My neighbors actually liked it. Miss June across the street even came over with cuttings for me. Said I had the green thumb her husband always wished she'd had. It was sweet. But, you know, paradise doesn't last long when there's an HOA and a Karen lurking. Enter Karen. She lived 2 doors down, platinum blonde bob, oversized sunglasses, and that signature resting scowl. I noticed her driving by real slow, taking pictures of my garden like I'd planted poison ivy and barbed wire out front. First time I caught her, I waved. She didn't wave back. Second time, she rolled her window down just long enough to shout, "That's not appropriate landscaping." Then she gunned it down the street like she'd won something. I should have known then it was the start of something dumb. A week later, I get a letter. Certified mail, no less. HOA violation. According to Karen, who, shocker, is the president of our HOA, my garden didn't meet community aesthetic standards. And here's the kicker. They slapped me with a $500 fine. $500. For growing vegetables in my own yard. Now, look, I'm not one to back down easy, but I also know better than to go off without knowing the facts. So I sat down with that HOA handbook they give you when you move and the one nobody actually reads. And wouldn't you know it, there was nothing, not a word, that said you couldn't grow a garden. In fact, they encouraged pollinator-friendly planting. I had bees all over my sunflowers. Pollinator-friendly as heck. But Karen wasn't satisfied with just the fine. Oh no, she started showing up uninvited, measuring my garden beds with a tape measure, snapping pictures like she worked for the feds. She even tried to argue that my agricultural activity could lower property values. I laughed out loud at that one as if my tomatoes were going to bring down Zillow estimates. I tried reasoning with the HOA board. Turns out, Karen was the board. Well, her and 2 other folks she basically handpicked because they didn't want to deal with HOA stuff. She ran the show, and she knew it. But what Karen didn't know was that I had an ace up my sleeve. See, during my Army days, I learned a thing or two about regs and paperwork. And I also had a cousin who worked as a community planner for the county. Over coffee, I mentioned my garden woes, and he about choked on his muffin. Tasha, she can't fine you for that. She's violating state urban agriculture laws. Hell, she might even be breaking federal code if she's targeting you like that. Oh, now we were cooking. So I filed an appeal with the HOA like the handbook says you gotta. Karen tried to schedule the hearing during a weekday morning when she figured no one would show but her and her stooges. Joke was on her. I took a personal day. And my cousin? He showed up with a binder thicker than my arm, full of county and state codes backing me up. Better yet, I invited the local news station. Turns out they love a good HOA drama, especially one with a racial undertone, and especially when the person getting fined is a vet minding her own business. When Karen saw the news crew setting up outside the clubhouse, I swear the color drained from her face faster than a cheap dye job. She tried to act all friendly, like, "Oh, we're just trying to maintain neighborhood standards." But you could see the panic in her eyes. She knew she'd been caught. The hearing itself was a farce. Karen did her usual song and dance about property values and community cohesion. My cousin hit them with facts, and I hit them with the handbook. The reporter? They caught every second of it. And man, that night's news segment was chef's kiss. They aired Karen's rant side by side with footage of my sunflowers waving in the breeze and my little niece picking cherry tomatoes. The public ate it up. But wait, here comes the twist. Remember those 2 other board members Karen kept in her pocket? Turns out, one of them, Mr. Delaney, had been looking for a reason to step down. After seeing the news piece, he resigned on the spot. And the other? Miss Bev? She flipped on Karen faster than a pancake at a church breakfast. started talking about how Karen had been using HOA funds for personal expenses. You can imagine where that went. A full audit followed. The HOA had no choice but to clear my fine and publicly apologize at the next meeting, which, by the way, was standing room only thanks to the publicity. And Karen? Oh, Karen. She was voted out as president faster than you can say yard sign violation. Her face when they read the vote tally, I wish I'd framed it. Thing is, Karen tried to save face. She went on next to her claiming she'd just been misinformed and trying to protect the neighborhood. But no one was buying it. People started sharing their own stories, fines for fence colors, for having a flag, for kids' chalk drawings on the sidewalk. She'd been at this for years. All it took was one garden to bring the house of cards down. I kept my garden, of course. Even expanded it a bit. Got some raised beds in the back now, too. The best part? The HOA had to put in a new rule explicitly allowing gardens, so no one else would have to deal with that kind of nonsense again. And Karen? She put her house up for sale about 6 months later. I hear she moved to a place without an HOA. Imagine that. So yeah, moral of the story? Don't let a power-hungry neighbor bully you. Know your rights, stand your ground, and don't be afraid to shine a light on their mess. Because sometimes, the best way to fight back is to let the whole world see what's really going on. What do y'all think? Was I right to push back? Or did I take it too far? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for listening to my story. And hey, if you've got your own HOA nightmare, share it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one.